I am Kuya, and on this video, we like to talk about deep stuff. Yeah, bunch of deep talk. Deep tops. On this video, we are going to be talking about how siblings affect our personality. What's good? What's poppin'? Before we get to the story today, we are gonna go to Toys R Us, a curbside pickup. So if you order online, go and pick it up, put it in your car, and you don't have to touch anything.
So they got Easter toys from our grandparents.
How's it been, children? You're good? Josiah, you good?
This is our first time out.
This is the first time out in a long time. They got Easter money from grandparents, and so we're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna go get something at Toys R Us. But what's the process?
To do a curbside pickup.
And what do you have to do?
You have to order it online, then wait like 5-6 hours, then come to the store, get through the drive-through line, put your stuff identification to the window, and then open your trunk and throw it in.
Yeah, so this is the line right in front of us.
Okay, they're just coming out car to car, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
So here's some of the stuff that we got at Toys R Us. Bella, what did you get?
This is not my stuff. This is not my stuff. This game.
Why don't you show everybody, what did you get?
I got it so hard. But it can actually work. You want me to show you? It's hard.
Are you happy they got these toys?
Yeah.
You want to say hi, thank you, Grandma.
Hi, thank you. And then I pat it. And then I do that. And then it comes to a turtle.
Oh wow, it's just like the real thing at the real beach.
Yeah. And you have sand stuff. And I can push. Okay, the shovel. I love you, Bella.
Can you give your sister a hug? Josiah, do you love your sister?
No.
What? You don't love Bella?
No.
What? Do you love your brother?
Yeah.
Even though he didn't say he loves you?
Mm-hmm.
You love him unconditionally?
Mm-hmm.
Like you, that's so sweet.
Because I want to keep on doing it.
So you're saying you love your sister, you just wanted to keep on drawing, that's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
So do you love your sister?
I want to keep on drawing.
Do you think you guys, does Josiah make you a better person, Bella?
No.
Does he make you a bad person?
He makes me poo-poo my pants.
Wow, okay, that was not the... Josiah, does your sister make you a better person?
No.
So does she make you a bad person?
No. He makes me go potty in my pants. And he makes me go fart and pee and
Okay, you guys, this is for...
And he makes me
Why
go
does this have to
potty.
go into like potty stuff? Hi, I want to have a real conversation here.
Hey.
Do you think you guys are gonna be friends when you're adults?
No. We just go kick.
You think you're gonna be fighting when you're adults?
No, I think we're gonna be rude. Like,
You're gonna be, bro. Okay, Bella, do you think you guys are gonna be friends when you're adults?
yeah.
Oh, so sweet.
But I'm going to fart on him. And I will fart on you.
You guys. What do you love about your sister?
And butt kicked me.
When she kisses you?
No, and butt kicked me.
When she kicked you?
Yeah,
That's what you like about her?
when he did, when butt kicked.
Have mercy.
And
Okay,
this one
Bella.
have.
Bella, what's your
This
favorite?
is-
What's your favorite
and-
thing about your brother?
When he smacks me in the eyeball.
When he smacks you in the eyeball.
When I love butt, when butt back in the eyeball.
When you love your sister the most when she smacks you in the eyeball. Do you smack your brother in the eyeball?
No.
No.
Hey, that
Do you smack your sister in the eyeball?
Like your butt, like they pack me like this. Giant looks like does like. Ah! Like this.
Okay, can you not hit each other?
And
Hit
he
yourselves?
just hits me in the face on the floor. Like, ow!
Okay, you guys are such actors. Okay, can you guys just give each other a hug? Josiah, can you give your sister a hug, please?
No. No.
Bella, can you give your brother a hug?
No. No.
Can you guys give each other a kiss?
No. No.
Can you say I love you?
No.
But do you love each other?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. No.
But you say, our family says I love you all the time.
Yeah, but we don't like telling them.
I love you.
Love you.
Is that-
I love you.
I love you too. How about you say I love you to each other?
No. No. I'm not going to say.
All right. So Josiah just wanted to clarify something that, he wanted to clarify that. Josiah just wanted to clarify that he loves his sister, but he didn't.
I love you, Bella.
But he didn't want to say it in front of the camera. So
I La.
Can you give your sister a hug? So I did a quick search online and landed on the Association of Psychological Science. They feature an article by Deborah Kotz of the Boston Globe in 2011. It was entitled, How Do Siblings Shape Your Personality? Now I want to share some of the excerpts with you. Quote, research has long established that parents play an integral role in shaping our personalities, but scientists are now finding that our siblings may contribute just as much or perhaps even more. In an intriguing new book called The Sibling Effect, science writer Jeffrey Kluger argues that brothers and sisters leave a firm imprint, helping to determine whether we'll be free-spirited, risk-takers, or careful, studious types, whether we'll be shy or the family entertainer, and whether we'll be inclined to smoke, use alcohol, or take illegal drugs. Kotz continued to write, what they've found is that certain things clearly play a role in influencing our personalities, such as where we fall in birth order, whether we grew up with a twin, whether we had half-siblings or step-siblings, or no siblings at all. Now, I found this part interesting. Quote, and siblings, especially those close in age and of the same gender, can influence each other's bad health habits. Younger brothers and sisters are 4 times as likely to take up smoking, for example, when an older sibling smokes. Drug and alcohol abuse follow a similar pattern. So here's the question. How much has your siblings, or not having siblings, shaped your personality? Now what you're going to see is a pre-recorded interview I did with Hannah on Zoom, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so here is the story from 1,000 Stories Project on Instagram. I'm going to read Sibling Love, which was with Hannah. All right, so this is Hannah. She grew up the second of 3 children in Ontario, Canada. As a child, her older brother longed to have a little sister. Therefore, even before Hannah was born, she was wanted, desired, and loved. In kindergarten, Hannah never felt like she belonged. She struggled to feel like she fit in and downplayed her Japanese heritage, food, and culture from friends in fear of not being accepted. Throughout middle and high school, she continued to feel like she never belonged, and her relationships with her older brother and sister were distant and at many times explosive. However, sometimes when we grow up, past frenemies turn into lifelong besties. That's what happened to Hannah. I asked Hannah my Gethsemane question. I asked her if tonight she knew she was going to be captured and killed, who would be the 2 or 3 people she would want to spend her last moments with, except her husband and children, because that's cheating. Hannah said, I would want to spend my last moments with my brother and my sister. Now, to me, that was amazing and touching. I would have shed a tear, but kept it together for the sake of the video chat. Hannah's story went full circle. At the beginning of life, she was loved by a sibling, and then in a hypothetical end-of-life scenario, her story would end with her siblings also. That is unconditional and unwavering sibling love. This is an example of sibling love goals for all of us to desire to achieve. Today, Hannah loves to spend time with her hubby and 2 little kiddos in Canada. Her siblings are both living in Japan and hope to see each other in person soon. Here are my 3 takeaways. 1, many of our stories begin even before we are born. 2, many are loved even more than we realize. And 3, keep your friends close and frenemies closer, because you never know when your frenemy might be one of the people who will be there for you at the end of days. Hannah, thank you for doing this with me.
I was like pretty hesitant at first, because you know me, right? I don't like to be on the spotlight. I'm pretty I keep to myself. So yeah, this is a stretch for me.
Yes, this is a stretch. By the way, Hannah and I met we met in middle school. And so
long time ago,
and sort of reconnected this past year and definitely around this project. So in your own words, with regard to your sibling, that story that I read, can you put more color to the point, the story of your story beginning before you were born?
So when Addison, you asked me this question, I was kind of thinking, well, for me, most people, I would think it's when you're born, like your birth, right? But for me, it goes, I think back for me when I became in existence was when my brother had asked my parents to have a sibling. And that was when the longing for me really started, and I think that's when I came into existence.
That is awesome. So, like, at what age do you remember being told that story?
Um, I don't even know. My mom always kind of said to me that, like, my brother really wanted me around, and he wanted a sibling so badly. He was always so lonely by himself, and I don't know. It was just something that really stuck with me my entire life. She even to this day says it. So yeah, it's pretty, like, it's a big thing.
Yeah, that's kind of unique, really. I don't know if I met anyone that would say my story started when my sibling wanted me. Like that's why it struck me from the get go. Um, so from as long as you could remember until even to this day, your mom still tells that to you. Um, how do you think that has shaped you, if anything?
It really made me look up to my brother. Like growing up, my brother was like in a totally different like social crowd, I guess. Like he had his own friends, and he was the type that played video games all the time and didn't really like, I don't know, he always just was in his group, like he had a place. And um I just looked up to him. Like he got me into video games, and like um it was just, I wanted to be more like him. And he was like smart, so I wanted to be smart too. It's kind of funny.
So you do have a younger sister. How does she come to play in that narrative, or is she the forgotten one?
Okay, so she, for me, we were always kind of like rivals growing up. She was closer to me in age than me and my brother. So there's a 4 year gap between me and my older brother. And then between me and my sister, it's about a year and a half. Um, so we were very competitive with each other for pretty much until we were at the end of high school. And sometimes we'd be really close, we'd love each other, and other times we were just like, fighting. Like she one time kicked the door through, or kicked a hole through my door. We were so bad. We fought a lot, but looking back, it just kind of brought us closer because now we laugh about all of that stuff that we did. And I don't know, it kind of makes me scared for my own kids, because I hope my own kids don't try to kill each other like me and my sister did.
Alrighty, so in your story, I talk about not feeling like you fit in kindergarten and throughout school. Can you tell me more
Yeah.
about that?
Um, I don't know if it was like an ethnic thing, but there wasn't a lot of like Asian people in my elementary school. That might have had something to do with it. I'm not sure, but I kind of learned to adapt to it, and kind of just continued on through my life. And I don't know, it just felt like, I spoke English at school, but at home I was speaking Japanese. And it was just like I was kind of two different people, one at home and one at school. It made me really shy at school. And I was just, I don't know, it was hard to express myself the way I wanted to, I guess.
See now in the there's a huge Filipino community like in the GTA. And I mean, it was weird for me when we were in school that I was like the token Filipino guy because most Filipino kids grew up in Catholic school. We were in public school. How was it like for you being Japanese and not having as much? Well, I mean, I don't think there are as many Japanese people in GTA as like Filipinos. What was it like for you?
My parents had a few friends that had kids sort of close in age to us, but really we didn't talk that much. Like none of them were really close to me either. So it wasn't like, I kind of had to drop kind of that Japanese side of me while I was like at school or whatever. And when I went home, I would turn on the anime and like eat all the Japanese food, and it would just, that was my life. Like, for school, I was always like, you bring your lunch, and it's like, oh, I don't want to bring like rice balls and stuff like that. Like, I want to bring like a sandwich. Like, my sister was different though. It was so weird. She had more confidence, I guess, but she brought like rice balls and like Japanese foods to school, and I wasn't brave enough to do that. So I kind of admire her for that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the Japanese culture a cool thing at that point when we were kids. I don't know. Today it's really cool. Everyone wants to go to Japan.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like that. I didn't feel it when we were younger.
Yeah. Okay. So, with regards to your brother in elementary, what was your relationship with him then?
Um, he was someone I looked up to a lot. Like he was a bus patroller in grade 5, so then I wanted to become a bus patroller until we moved closer to the school, and then I had to kind of give that up. But I don't know. I tried to follow in his footsteps a lot. I still
Hmm.
kind of, I don't know. I still respect him a lot. So
Um, in
yeah.
the Filipino culture, again, there's this kuya, big brother, ate, big sister thing. Is there something similar in the Japanese culture?
Um, I think in Filipino culture it expands further than just like immediate family. For me, because I don't have any relatives here, we don't really have that. It was just my brother did take care of us, like me and my sister, and he kind of, because my parents worked a lot. They had their restaurant, so they weren't around a whole lot to take care of us. So then it was kind of all my brother. We annoyed the crap out of him, I'm sure. So
Um,
yeah, he took care of us a lot.
how did your relationship change with him in high school, or did it?
In high school, I think we drifted, and I was only in high school with him for 1 year, and he went off to university, so he wasn't home a whole lot, and I think school really was hard on him. So we kind of butt heads a lot. Yeah, we butted heads a lot during that time, and we kind of drifted a bit. And then I moved out after high school, and he moved back home after university. So then we're kind of just like, passing by each other,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So then, what did he end up going to? When did he go to Japan?
He went to Japan when I was 20. Yeah. So that was probably, I was living in like, where was I? I think I was living downtown Toronto or something. Um, yeah, he went and it was kind of like, oh, you're leaving. Okay, bye. I don't know. It's kind of just like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you soon-ish, maybe. Like, I didn't know if he was going to come back or like, but he left and didn't really come back for a long time. So,
So yeah, how did that make you feel? Like,
well, it was sad. Like, it was kind of like he was deserting us a little bit, like me and my sister. And then a few years after my sister left, so then I was like, oh, I'm being left again. So
mhm.
yeah, it was hard. It's still hard.
Yeah, like so my sisters are and brother, they're all older than me by a long shot, 12-year difference. And by the time I was 3, my oldest went off to university. And that bugged me for a long time. It still sort of bugs me, you know. So if my sister's listening, you abandoned me, Sister King. um, no. So you said so with your brother for most of your life, you've always just looked up to him. With your sister, it was more rivalry
Yeah.
in elementary and high school. Like, what changed after high school?
Um, Really, I don't know if she would say it, but I feel like something in her changed. Like maybe she realized I was leaving soon, or like we were just older. And I felt like her attitude changed towards me. Like she was nicer to me, and like I don't know, she actually talked to me a little bit more. And um, I just reciprocated. I answered to her when she wanted to talk, and we just kind of got really close. And then she moved downtown. She was right down the street from me when I lived downtown. So, we would meet up at the subway station just by chance sometimes, and like we would have lunch or dinner or whatever. It was fun.
So looking back, or I mean, fine, looking now, like how is your relationship now with your siblings?
My relationship with my siblings is pretty good. My brother, he doesn't like to talk very much, especially over messaging. So I always just make sure that he's okay. And then he visited last year um, for my wedding because I got married last year, and that was really nice of him. He's the only person in my family that showed up, and I don't know. I really appreciated that he was there. Um, my sister and I are so close even to this day. Like we just talk every single day. Like if she's up in the middle of the night, she'll message me, and then I'll be like, "Oh, Lynn's messaging me. I have to respond." And like drop everything and just respond to her. And I don't know. I just really respect her as a person. Like I don't know. I feel like she's kinder than I am, and like she just whenever I have like a problem, I'll go to her, and then she'll give me a different perspective than my own. And it's just like this different from like just logic. It's I don't know, something that I think is really important to have in my life.
So I asked you when we first did this project of the Gethsemane question, and for people who don't know what that is, we're just finished the Easter season, and Gethsemane question has to do with the garden in which Jesus brought his three closest people, Peter, James, and John, to go cry. And I asked Hannah, who would you bring? And you came up with your siblings. I don't recall, was that a hard answer for you to come up with, or was it easy?
No, it's easy, no question. Like that's the first two people that come to my head, other than like my husband and my kids, of course. But yeah, I would really want everybody, all of them together.
No, that's awesome. Hold on. The kids. Sorry. Keep it down. Sorry. um so it was easy for you to come up with that answer. Are you surprised now that you are as close to each other now, considering what, at least with your sister especially, growing up?
I never even thought about it as a kid. Like I never thought that I would be close to her. It's not something that you think of when you're like like mad with rage. But it's we were like mad at each other a lot, and it's not something I thought maybe when we're older we'll get along. It's when we're old enough to like be reasonable, then it's like, oh, we want to like grow up together and become like old ladies and like sit on a porch together and like just laugh about the stupidest things.
um what how do you think they have shaped you?
Um, how do I think they shaped me? I don't know. They're just a part of me, like I always, they're always on my mind. Like I always think about them. Like my brother, he influenced like so many things in my life. Like to this day, I'm still like, I like video games and I like anime, and he was the one that kind of introduced all that to me. So it's like, I don't know. He just, every time he suggests something, he'll be like, why not? And I'll be like, I don't know, why not? So then he keeps my mind open, and I keep trying to put that into my daily life. I'm kind of trying to figure this out as I'm talking.
No
um,
worries.
yeah, he does open up my mind, and my sister too. She has a different way of thinking, so I feel like, what will I do in this situation? I'll ask myself, and then yeah, it might come up with something. Like the outcome might be different from what would happen if I were to just be on my own.
So you have two kiddos of your own, I think 3 and 1 almost.
Yes, three. Yeah, almost four. So three and one just turned one. Yeah.
So how would you, like, what are things from your childhood with your siblings would you want to keep the same? And what are things in your childhood that you'd want to do differently?
Um, when I was young, I had a lot of like unsupervised playtime with my siblings. Like my parents were just like too busy for us, so like we just entertain each other. And I actually thought that was good. I want to give my kids like without like supervising, right? Like don't do that, don't do that. Like I want them to be able to like freely play, and I just hope that they don't really hurt themselves too much, or each other. And yeah, I want them to get along. Like I want them to have their own time to find each other, like as people.
So
And I hope that they're closer when they're older. Like I hope they stay close, I guess.
is there anything that you do intentionally? Like any, like, do you have family day with them, or like certain times that is just for individually or for all of them, or?
I try to find time for each of them because I don't want one to get jealous over the other. Like maybe gets me later or earlier in the day, like in the mornings before Tyga's awake, and then Tyga I get when whenever I'm putting him to bed, or like I play with him when I get like time. David sometimes takes Mia B out, and then I'll have my time with Tyga because he's younger. We're still bonding, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So how has your, I want to say perspectives, but has your lenses, has it changed, or is there things that you've realized since talking about this over the past couple weeks together?
Um, every time I have a conversation with you, I feel like something changes. Like I look at things a little bit differently. It opens up my mind when I talk to you. I don't know. It's just because your view is different from like what I know. Like everyone around me is not very religious. They don't talk about God all the time, and I'm not religious, but it does open up my mind to think about like how someone might think if they were, and it's interesting. Like it makes me think a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like about my siblings, I feel like I miss them more now. We keep talking about them. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I just really want to see them. All right. So you asked how I would change what I'm doing with my kids, um, so that they might be closer or whatever. I think I probably teach them kindness a little bit more, how to be able to express themselves and their feelings a little bit better because our generation, we never really learned from our parents how to talk about our feelings. Well, I don't know about you, but for my family especially, it was just like, you're sad, stop crying. Like, it was like, why are you crying? And I remember being asked that a lot. And I want to teach my children kindness and openness. And I think that's one thing I would change.
That is awesome. Kindness and openness. Now, see, would that be a cultural thing, like the Japanese way of not showing emotion?
Yeah, I think so. Like the Japanese, um, not all of them, but a lot of them don't show emotion and they don't like to show affection. So that's something I don't agree with about the Japanese culture. Like they're like no touching and like no hugging. They do maybe a handshake, but usually like bowing. Still, even to this day, it's a little bit old fashioned, but still to this day they do a lot of bowing. Like I even see it myself if I speak to someone Japanese. I notice myself bowing a lot. I'm like, I'm bowing to these people. And I'm like, that's not, I don't even know. Like, I guess I inherited it from like my parents talking to people. And yeah, I do it subconsciously. So it's kind of funny.
So that's true for the immediate family as well. Like you don't show affection or hug or say, I love you.
Well, my own family, like David and my kids, we're all over each other. But with my parents, now that we rarely see each other, I feel like we're a little bit more affectionate. Like my dad cries and he hugs me every single time we say goodbye at the airport or whatever. It's so strange to me, but like it's nice too because it's just not something that we did before. Like it was like, oh, you're hugging me. That's weird, but like yeah, it's a nice change. And sometimes I feel like maybe we get along a lot better now because we don't live together and we're like so far apart that we actually have a chance to miss each other. But the distance is too far for me. Like I wish I could see them a little bit more often and like yeah, Japan's far.
Yeah, Japan is far. So that not hugging or showing affection thing, is that unique to your family or that is across the Japanese culture?
I think it's pretty common in Japanese culture for that to happen, yeah.
And it's true for women as well, because in the West, it's like men don't show emotion. So in Japan, is it both men and women don't show emotion?
Um I think it's expected out of men more. There's more pressure there. But I would say there's some for both. Yeah, I think for both genders it is true.
So what parts of the Japanese culture would you want to instill into your kids?
So you just blanked out for a second.
Oh, I was saying, what parts of your Japanese heritage and culture would you want to continue to instill in your kids?
Um, for sure the language. I'm working on that. It's hard. Um, they are very respectful and um that's important to me, like so that they are respectful to other people and like, this it, it's important that like they know what people's personal space is because right now they're kids and they don't, so they're kind of just everywhere. But some people aren't comfortable being close, so they have to learn to gauge that too, like not just from Japanese culture but any culture, like we have to learn that. Other than that, like the thing with the language thing, I learned a lot of it by watching Japanese television. So I think I'm trying to instill that now, even though like we're also trying to limit screen time and it's very difficult, right? What else do I want to? I don't know. What else I want to instill in them? The biggest thing would be like, learning to say thank you and excuse me, and just manners in general. But that's not just limited to Japanese. They just maybe exaggerate it more.
Now, your husband David, he's half Chinese and half Vietnamese, or Chinese.
Yeah, half Chinese, half Vietnamese.
Is the value for him just as important to pass down Chinese Vietnamese culture, or no?
Mm, I don't. He doesn't speak the languages very often, like so he doesn't seem to care about the passing down language, but it's more about instilling like family values because his family's all here and they're pretty close, and we try to keep close to them too. Just like the kids need to have family here, so.
Mhm. So some sociologists say that it takes 3 generations to assimilate into a new culture. At the same time, that means it takes 3 generations to lose one. That would mean that your grandkids would potentially have zero attachment to the Japanese culture when you're
Right.
gone. Um, is that a concern? Is that a fear, or you're cool with that?
um it would be nice if they did retain some of it, like by showing the kids like Japanese television and all that. It's all in there, right? Like the culture and like how people act and stuff like that. I hope that it gets retained, but if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. Like, as long as they have family and someone that cares for them and loves them, that's most important. Like as long as they're happy, everything else is just extra.
That is awesome. Anything else you wanted to share?
Um, Not really. Unless you want to ask something else.
Yeah, completely unrelated. Where'd you get that cool TP behind you?
I don't think that was Amazon. This is Maybe's room, by the way. So I'm hanging out in Maybe's room. It has the best lighting in the house.
Oh
It's
my
just like
goodness. I was like, man, never mind a tent in the house, a teepee, like that is cool.
she sleeps in there now. Yeah,
Wow.
like she has this bed. I'm gonna give you a little tour of her room. She has this bed here,
Yeah.
but she sleeps in the teepee.
Oh my
She has
goodness.
like all her toys in here, her Paw Patrol stuffies.
And yet you still set up a tent in your living room. On top of the
Yeah,
teepee in her bedroom, she wants a tent in the living room.
yeah, that's for like daytime fun because we need to do some fun stuff too. So the thing
That
is,
is
I really like camping and I like putting up a tent too. Like I like hanging out in a tent. I don't know what it is. I just like tents, and like we put one up in the backyard a couple years ago, and it killed all the grass and all because we had it up for like 2 weeks, and then we took it down. And it's hard to put it up, and I got a nice pop-up one that just like pops up in like a second,
yeah.
and it works perfectly in the living room. So
Well, thank you again for coming back to share about your siblings. Wait, you're not a public person. I was gonna be like, hey, how would people contact you? I guess you don't want to be contacted.
well, if they really want to, I guess they can like follow me on Instagram or something, or request for a
Yeah,
follow.
yeah. So if you want to find, if you want to find Hannah, you're gonna go find her. Yeah, no, because you're not a public person, right? You're a private person.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so Hannah, leave Hannah alone, okay? If any of you want to have a Japanese friend, not Hannah, okay? Alrighty, but again, have a good one. I'll see you later.
Thanks, you too.
It is almost 2 a.m. and I'm just about to finish this video. And what can I tell you? If you watched to the end and you haven't subscribed yet, then you should probably do that and hit the notification bell, okay? Because yeah, something about YouTube doesn't tell you. I don't know. I'm tired. It's all. I need to go to bed. Okay. Yeah. I'll see you guys later.